So, hello, Alex. How are you tonight?
Hello, excellent, excellent.
Oh,
Thank
Alex,
you.
can we pause the recording for just a minute, please? Or stop it? Thank you to everybody for joining us tonight. And we are going to get started with the opening prayers. And so we'll start with the altruistic motivation. I'll read them in English one time. All mother sentient beings, especially those enemies who hate me, obstructors who harm me, and those who create obstacles on my path to liberation and omniscience. May they experience happiness, be separated from suffering, and swiftly I will establish them in the state of unsurpassed, perfect, complete, and precious Buddhahood. The Action Bodhicitta Prayer. Thus, until I achieve enlightenment, I perform virtuous deeds with body, speech, and mind. Until death, I perform virtuous deeds with body, speech, and mind. From now until this time tomorrow, I perform virtuous deeds with body, speech, and mind. And the long refuge prayer. We take refuge in the kind root Lama and lineage Lamas. We take refuge in the deities of the mandalas of the Yidams. We take refuge in all the exalted Buddhas. We take refuge in the perfect Dharma. We take refuge in the excellent order of the Sanghas. We take refuge in all the noble Dakas, Dakinis, and Dharma guardians, possessors of the eye of wisdom. Taking the Bodhisattva vow. Until I attain the heart of enlightenment, I take refuge in all the Buddhas. I take refuge in the Dharma, and likewise in the assembly of the Bodhisattvas. As the previous Buddhas embraced the enlightened mind and progressed on the Bodhisattva's path, I too, for the benefit of all sentient beings, give birth to bodhicitta and apply myself to accomplish the stages of the path. The short refuge prayer. In the Buddha, the Dharma, and the Sangha most excellent, I take refuge until enlightenment is reached. By the merit of generosity and other good deeds, may I attain Buddhahood for the sake of all sentient beings. And the four immeasurable qualities of bodhicitta. May all mother sentient beings, boundless as the sky, have happiness and the causes of happiness. May they be liberated from suffering and the causes of suffering. May they never be separated from the happiness that is free from sorrow. May they rest in equanimity, free from attachment and aversion. So thank you all very much for joining us tonight, and everybody that's been on YouTube. And I've heard from a few people from the YouTube watchers, and thank you very much for your questions and your requests. And if there's anything that we can help you to facilitate your being able to take part in this, whatever way you can, we'll certainly do that. Just send us an email at buddhapracticestudy@gmail.com. So thank you very much. Thank you to Geshe Lharampa Jampa Choedup. Thank you very much for being here again tonight and leading these questions and answering these questions and giving explanations on the 37 practices of the Bodhisattva. So before we get started, does anybody have any questions or comments about anything that we've just been recently talking about? Okay, very good. Then, Alex, if you will, please, if you will give your comments and please, leave room for Yangshan to be able to translate so that Geshe can understand what it is that we're saying and would be very good. So, Alex, when you're ready, please go ahead.
All right. First, first of all, thank you, Lance, for giving me opportunity to contribute to our discussion and our own biographical notes, so to speak. Um, um, I'm very happy to be part of this group and hear everybody's stories and share my own stories. And hear any kind of reaction or response from especially from Geshe-la today.
Mhm.
Um,
Uh,
go.
ja, genshi dila string da kara konga ji dire nangchulu su shudang ro den de kola che. An chokpa di nanglo lewa da ani kara da ganda kokab nang tu jina slani motorish. Yes.
Okay. So I probably have to say my spiritual journey, so to speak, uh, started probably quite early. I would say maybe in my uh, like middle school, but I was still in Russia then. So we also have elementary, middle, and high school and all that. So I was growing up a very curious person and constantly asking my parents questions like why, and like in middle school I already was studying sciences on my own and chemistry and physics and biology, like jumping a little bit ahead of others, probably not understanding really much of that. But then by the time I got into like high school, I got curious. I wasn't going to church regularly. I was baptized in Russian Orthodox Church, and I actually remember that, like when I was at age of 9 or 10, one of my early memories, very early memories. But I was not a practitioner, a spiritual practitioner in any way. Maybe let's start translating.
Alright. 아니 콩가지디 간데로치니 고추당로디 다 낭쇼르츠 토낭로다 인슈당로 지겨라 디 녜마니도 고추 숭숭하란소 진짜 촉번이 겨가지 로세 지겨라 원디도 추즈도 아니 생리랑에서 딜레아젠 디강 지당찬이 거랑하란소 티어쿠레도다 치틴데페 고이미디스 아니 생리강라 레디 삼바니 제조 레응응 함리파레 안드롤은 차장로 레디 아니 랑싱이 인디 슈크샤 레송스 아니 디젤이야 카라 다 진짜 주어 주직 주니 디가질로 세딜라 레디 아니 소소 카라 이야 디라 이슈인 바체 아니 랑싱이 가나서 카라 이슈 코랑서 아지 처치라 드야 디게 디도체 아니 차장로 마티스티스 뉴르도 도송스 yes.
So then, by the time I reached high school, there was already perestroika going on fast in Russia, and we had easy access to any kind of spiritual books. So I was starting reading Christian New Testament, Old Testament, and then I came across books on yoga and Agni Yoga, if you know the Mahatmas. So I was reading that with great interest, and also some books on semi-spiritual subjects like psychology, hypnotism, and things like that.
니 디젤 카라다 진다야 주어 주직 스톨리드 잠바니 러시아랑 녜마이나 텐데로 디스 슝기 탐다 이긴기 치닝하면서 뎁시리네 카리네 롭다 디게들 나면서 차상로 디 메교 러시아 아니 원디도 삼바 캠베도 당고 지 드네 아니 탭다 안데도 카릴로니 톤에 소솔로야 유교 되바 차상로야 유교 도친 엔데도 지 차송스 게코코라 그 원디 차주 삼바니 탭 나란소다 카라 이슈가 제니 탭한데요라 니마 뜬샤교레 디가지
Taba
치스바지
tangpini ba lagdo.
원디 주체 아니 디젤라 카라 ngaranso yoga rikaji 탭 엔데도 레레 아니 엔데도 치니타 카라 semkhang ripaji kang tholle ende 탭제 도 망보 통송 yes
But actually, I was quite curious. I heard about Buddha and some of stories from his life, but it was not until like early years of college that I actually came across some teachings on Buddhism from kind of more or less trained teachers and practitioners, and could like start some Buddhist practices, and those were incidentally were actually of Kagyu school of Buddhism. But that that didn't last very long, for number of reasons I don't want to get into today. But also I had to really dedicate myself to study of science, and I didn't start my another kind of cycle of teachings more seriously until after my graduate school and even postdoctoral studies, when I came to live here in DC area.
alright 아니 디젤라 카라 먼저 톨럽다운 도알 투디 삼바 아니 ngaso 카라 상게기 니 상게까지 다 간다만도 코드 디스퀘샤 다자 템발레직 텐데 미지 유교도세 아니 디젤이야 톨럽 도알랑아랑조 낭체까지 엔디 숭도 디게 데 디스티스도 야마 가두도 갸데샤 코라지 당선 생감당 덴데로 강 인슈도 아니 디젤라 이야체마스 탄다다디 잠바 페제 공이마 톨롭갑도알라 아니 야마직 카레 낭쇼콜라 야마 테데 디즈 상마 아니 까규가지 디레샤사 아니 디젤라 카레 아니 톨롭 차사 웨젤라 따야 톨롭 당불로 시디장 디젤이양 알아서 딜레야 톨톨 렌장그라 디기디야 롭종 겐기 도치니 엔디 로치니야 pat 낭슈랑 락렌 레셔라 텐딩스 키치 토마송스
Good.
And actually, we were very fortunate in DC to be visited by many prominent Buddhist teachers. And of course, I think now I'm thinking I was super fortunate to be able to, like, my friends invited me to hear teach Nat Han, visiting one time, giving big like address and teaching, and His Holiness Dalai Lama a couple times, and later I was participating in Kala Chakra in DC, and many like other teachers, but all these were not just curiosity. Actually, I all these years I had these profound dreams where I seem like to meet somebody very wise, kind of like a sage or a monk, sometimes even His Holiness himself, and they would try to show me something or explain me or just look at me profoundly, and some kind of, I feel that there is some kind of wisdom coming into me, which I didn't quite understand. So I wanted to find out, what is more out there, what that may mean, and fortunately, there were more teachers to actually ask questions and talk to and learn practices from. So here I am today with you and sharing story, and very grateful for that.
An dijela khara ta ko lojong dige de thön ani disi sani liya ngo su ta khandiro lega do che ta diwal ma shi cha de ko su de ani disi ya sani dil khari ya ko dula da ngarang so kewan re ta chö sunga da de ro chin kan da mi cha chen bu de zuma bo phi do ya ma 아니 원데 치디 콘서트하지 칼로반데 테마니 스가 디치니 엔 디젤라 콘쇼기 디실라 통고한지 디낭드 아니 카레 코갑디 라순 칼로니에 당 디게디 냠둘라 아니 디젤 지당찬 딱 코아지 딜레단 로디 마스나랑소 인도랑 균이도 레사 지가 안데로 칸들로 다 가리치니나도 티어꾸레 고도 다체 아니 천리까지 균이 안데로 남실로 수 인도레 대교도 인도 아니 치수 소소 거래하고 있는 땅이랑 좀 기계 만져도 단 경험만 보시도 이나야 아니 수수기 하고야 그 기계 디수 많이 바통도 딜레 하페 망보도 스케자 티사레 장사레 냠린 디게디야 아니 베샤샤는 가다 트링 탄당 ngaran 상만냠 디강 레디오라스 원디 간다만다 페디 쿠갑 상부로체 소소소 룽다도 규교로체 간다 야고 통고도스
알았어.
So to add more to the motivation side of things, I of course during this time I had family on my own, and I had 2 kids born and grown up, and I, with the help of Lance and other people in Drikung Dharma Surya Center, I started to share whatever stories I learned and practices with the little children, and we continue doing that. So I want to impart whatever wisdom I learned to those kids and to my own kids. And in addition, I'm also now studying more advanced science like neurobiology, and it actually helps me open my eyes on wisdom that reached us through the ages, through thousands of years, and I see a lot of parallels, like in modern science discoveries, with what have been discovered a long time ago, but more from practical side of things rather than just theory. So I'm very interested in continuing my studies in Buddhism.
아니 다 코라가지 응을서 다 샘규테야 돌아와 낭초를 수슈당도 디강 도지신나 아니 디공 타마가지 최소디네 귀니 란슬라당 워싱 엔드로체 아니 텐데로 디네 야이 체마시 치니 레슨스 아니 지당신다 소소기다 텐데 강라 야마도 투디섬 망보지 신샤요라 안 신샤교 디게디 소소부그레 아니 디니마 워싱 바다 롭투도다 망보셔라 차장을 파 디치니 투도스 파 셰어도 단지가 텐드로 디치니 투도스 안 디강 칼라나 아니 콘지나 차니다 카레 텐상 나랑조 간다다 첸리까지 엔데도 강라디 장준로 치디도 잠바니 카리하 고들라나다 단다 낭쇼까지 디네 아니 고망부지다 통제 퇴자 망부지 망 통고도스 시자 디게디야 아니 이페차샤는 또 단다 만주기니 지금 체리 나로니 덴데로지 따사지야 튼송돌니 엔드로 실리라 이나 키스디게들 터나야 보테나야 낭취 나로니 니야마니 지여디교로 직도디교로니다 덴데로치니다 간다 낭취딜라 아니 톤도 이마리두스
Yeah.
Oh, so yeah, so I'm happy that Geshe-la can hear what we have, what I say, share today. And if you have more questions, I'm happy to elaborate. And if anybody else have questions, also I can say some more. But I think I said enough.
Very good. Thank you, Alex. Thank you very much. It's very, very good. I'll add one other thing that Alex is a master in Tai Chi. And he has given many performances in front of audiences along with groups in his Tai Chi exercises, which is absolutely marvelous. So he's very adept at that.
Genshi Kong ani kare ngaran so Tai Chi lani ukjong ga ji jigya.
음,
Ondi gang la pat andi ro chini ni dige chazam gang la pe kyang ro chi gi chu da lok chu da de pe mang boy res.
음, 네, 네.
Yes, part of my interests were also like other kinds of Eastern philosophies like Taoism. So I'm trying to incorporate many things in what I learn. So that was part of that.
아니 ngaran so gyami ga ji tao la ji gya khara nga ji gya gyana
음,
dang lo la ji nga ga ji ko la ji shi ya den de ro she dige chazang to lo ko ani ing ro she an de ro chin tan nang che le ing she ga ji gyum chen ro gyo ba gyum chen dige dire shi.
음, 네, 뭐,
Okay, so we need to keep moving. So, Dorje, we see that you're with us tonight. Thank you. And Geshe-la, do you have any comments or questions that you'd like to make in response to Alex's story, his biography?
네, 코리게 칭리다 장 안에 때문에 남초를 저 인레바 든디콜 송고도 안에 자름 버치기 로망보 코네 칭리다 남초니 숨데체네 손신 주야래 로티체야래 든데칸라 안에 공바기에 레기 든데 주용도 안에 벽박이 남초 장에 gemba 망보치기 때 컨텐다 이나 컨텐다 지레오나 세네 담봉 원래 되잖아요 말이스 ane jel rimbe rimbe ane namchue da chingri ni de ane nilu chota ane junsen ye gyabe ke thone tanda da waji karina tenlam baptang de so ane rachung daya ge cha mangbo hyoji ye onde zamane ane desang ane densa khal ta so ina ane namchue ge chingri zang mayin ba ane ngwe ge chingri da tende dan rewe ge tal honse mangbo hyoji zu ge res so be mesin rabo ye insa res.
Since Alex highlighted how his like curiosity and everything came through with science being first and then later he was into Buddhism, right? Just like that, even His Holiness the Dalai Lama had been focusing, he has been telling like maybe 2 to 3 decades ago, he was telling the interconnection and importance of science and Buddhism like to be together in hands so that when His Holiness has told regarding the importance of science and Buddhism, both like how we should learn both together so that it makes more sense. Um, many of the elder like for example in the monastery if they are like the elder ones they were kind of doubtful to that because thinking if the modern like science being taken into the Buddhism like how Buddhism is mainly about like spiritual things, right? So how will it come hand in hand? But after when they started looking out how science focuses on the theories and then how they discover things and then the reasoning behind when they see something they won't just go blindly like believing on that one, right? They see like the reason for this that similarly it's kind of same in Buddhism, right? How when you start practicing you will get to know the reasons for this and then you will somehow get many answers to that. So when they realized that, I think they understood the importance of like both science and Buddhism like together. And that's why these days in the monasteries, the monks are given educations like basic sciences and then the quantum physics and all those introductions are being like taught these days.
ane ngarangi samchura chepaina shetan zambalindi kanla tsingri de hiwe yaji chimbares tsingri de so hiwe yaji ta shingwe yaji hiwe halle pa chingyores ina tsingri pa de so ke zejo ge chanere ngobo ge chanere 가르 조 투구여 바 차상 조게 되게 양 팽게 가다 너게 간데이나 삼사 된데 삼소에 용거도스.
And then with science being like the one which is with science being what to say like arising, how everybody is so focused on the science things like chemically way or physically, how it has developed like this modern world in a way. So Gishi thinks that does all these things like the technological growth and all these things are these like the highly advanced things because of science, are those really like benefiting everyone in a good way, or is there like a negative impact because of these things as well?
아니 코리라 투지체스타지 곤소도서 참마데 차란짱지 곤소마이 바 곤소데 간솔로 츠 과샤 잡제네 당간솔로 츠 삼노타야게 데테바데 투지체스 간소 파츠 참마 삼노데 젤렌치 요로스데 야포 히란두스 투지체.
And then Gishi would like to thanks Alex for sharing his motivation, and this really like gave all of us a time to think like with your motivation and everything. So since we are exchanging our thoughts, this was a really good session as well.
Okay, thank you very much, Geshe. Thank you again, Alex. And we'll look forward to hearing from Brendan next week. So next, we like to set our motivation, set our stream of consciousness for the 37 practices of the Bodhisattvas. So I'd like to ask Matthew. Last week he talked on his motivation. So if this week he will recite the title and the homage to Lokeshwara, and then the first 6 of the verses of the points that we've talked about in the 37 practices. So, Matthew, can you do that, please? And I'll screen share this so we can all follow this.
The 37 practices of a Bodhisattva's way of life. I'll read yours actually, I'm just reading my little booklet. Homage to Lokeshvaraya. At all times, I prostrate with respectful 3 doors of body, speech, and mind to the Supreme Guru and the Protector Chenrezig, who through realizing that all phenomena neither come nor go, make single-minded effort for the sake of all sentient beings. The perfect Buddhas, source of benefit and happiness, arise from accomplishing the sublime Dharma. And as that accomplishment depends on knowing the Dharma practices, I will explain the Bodhisattva's practices. At this time, when the difficult-to-gain ship of leisure and fortune has been obtained, ceaselessly hearing, pondering, and meditating day and night in order to liberate oneself and others from the ocean of cyclic existence is the Bodhisattva's practice. The mind of attachment to loved ones wavers like water. The mind of hatred of enemies burns like fire. The mind of ignorance, which forgets what to adopt and what to discard, is greatly obscured. Abandoning one's fatherland is the Bodhisattva's practice. When harmful places are abandoned, disturbing emotions gradually diminish. Without distraction, virtuous endeavors naturally increase. Being clear-minded, definite understanding of the Dharma arises. Resorting to secluded places is the Bodhisattva's practice. Long associated companions will part from each other. Wealth and possessions obtained with effort will be left behind. Consciousness, the guest, will cast aside the guest house of the body. Letting go of this life is the Bodhisattva's practice. When evil companions are associated with, the 3 poisons increase, the activities of listening, pondering, and meditation decline, and love and compassion are extinguished. Abandoning evil companions is the Bodhisattva's practice. When sublime spiritual friends are relied upon, one's faults are exhausted and one's qualities increase like the waxing moon. Holding sublime spiritual friends even more dear than one's own body is the Bodhisattva's practice.
Thank you. So I'm going to recite the seventh verse and then the eighth and ninth after we have a discussion on the seventh. What I've noticed in my study of this, and I encourage everybody to have their own study of this, and by taking things apart and putting it back together again, we can observe some patterns that seem to be in these verses and so on. So, for instance, like the first verse is the good ship, is the precious human life that we are going through, that we are traveling the ocean of suffering, of samsara, and so on to nirvana. So it's the precious human life. The second and the third are leaving home. The fourth and the fifth are letting go. And the sixth and the seventh are trusting. And the eighth and ninth are commitment. So we're going to get to the second of the seventh one and the eighth and ninth of commitment. But my invitation to you is to be able to look at these things critically and try and see patterns that might be in there. Even if you make some hasty generalizations, it's helpful to be able to have a method, a way in being able to study the 37 practices, as well as all the other documents, all the other wonderful words and practices that we get to study. The scriptures, that's the word I was looking for. So would you mind translating that for Geshe, please?
Okay. 아니 아상 렌스기 카릴라스라나 딜라스 당 먼저다 다른 투바다 듬바니 고츠여다 투바사사다 아니 다 냠렌 소드마디 마야고신이 락렌디 라우라 락렌 강자 마야고신 투디sam바 아니 레레레라 간다 찍찍제니라니마 모투데교로샤 베차샤니 락렌 당시 이마랑소 kare milu rinchen di kola shea chi chasang trudo jing nang lo chi ani dije la kare kanye ga ji gyaso dine ta kowa ga ji gyaso dine tara do kora sungora ani niba di da sumba di ani kare kola shi dula na ngarang chu yungen di pangore slani dije la kare ani shiba da nga ba di kare kyab su chodan da kyab tiyan di che ani thupa da dumba di la ani ngarang chu yishi kang la ki yishi la ora yishi kang la che ani geba da guba di ani ngarang su tang ngue su la len lan ta kisi chi chi che go na ani thagaran khora ngam su khandu la mi ro chi sin san ta di la len di tar go ra la cha ngue su che di wanda len ta ngarang chu di la len so de ma ta ta go res ani wanda chin ta su su gi ma ya ho chin di chena de su su nyam de yora
다랑 레테 동 인지 menji 라네 레레 칸로 소소로 셈나로 돔다고데 인주그레스 디 렌스케 송바 다랑레
Just like Lensla said, that was a really great idea, and it's really important to like summarize the Bodhisattva like practices like after each verse, how like this verse is regarding trusting, this is regarding the fortunate human life, like that way.
근데 먼저 디 츠디 간라 드린 산노 탄디 산니 산노 로카지 코인 그래서 로칼라디 만다와 마르다 녜베 양조 라오야 지요르와 자체른로야 아니 나니가 산노 탄데 야 수속 센르 츠 자윈데 야 티체 펜토 요딩엔다와다 수속 센라야 야 질레와야다 야 산노 덴데 타나야 덴데 타야 두아 삼산다와 덴데 간다 만다자 간소디 가두이나 컴된 제와나시 잠데나타 쇼 장아 요레스 디 럽던 도비커서 혼센다 다그마레스
And then when we keep thinking about it, for example, today when we look at the topics, it will show some definitions, right? And then when you look back tomorrow, the way you think there would be more definitions. So this isn't like the lessons which we had taken during our school days. Like it isn't like certain subject or anything like that. This can be like practical, which can be used in our daily life. So whenever you get time, you can try taking a look on this one, and each time when you look, somehow a new meaning or a new thought will arise.
And brother Lance Lamentino song
And then Brother Lance, you can continue.
Okay, thank you very much, Geshe. So now, verse number 7. What worldly God, himself also bound in the prison of cyclic existence, is able to protect others? Therefore, when refuge is sought, taking refuge in the undeceiving triple gem is the Bodhisattva's practice.
아니 랜슬라이기 가래한 안수 디 랄린 둠바디 인지 토가지 디 lost.
디 테레 된도와 라니 듬바데 ngaranso peyi nanola chebayina ramya khobi tsara jingbayi jiten lai suhi jabanu ane deshe kanlap chana mlowe kuncho chamro jase lalen yin sede tere dendowa tade three refugee kola songor da te zode jabsong de kotelarwa ta di chetan kazan di mashu nge de la nganzo ke cheshwe de nani cheshwe de kazan lane trupa de ta lane ngapa ni de yorwa te kazan jo dodang kala chimbare chambayanji te tro ngemba pangure se ya de ta hine tamba de rang lule chang kechewa tsegure se ya teni kana chunzo ngeba do tusan ya bu hero ches.
Yeah, so the verse 7, it's focused on what is that? To take refuge in the three jewels. And before moving on to that, Gishi would like to request everyone to like keep more thoughts or like give more importance on the fifth and sixth one. The fifth one is to avoid destructive friends, and then the sixth one to cherish your spiritual friends and teachers even more than your own body. So please focus more on these two, like give importance to the fifth and sixth verse more.
Ngarang choki chonge panya chi ta ro zambo yapo tenya da heni yapo ten se ya de suso ke name putu chonggo go yana mitse kibo chi zo go yana ya langa tenene zo go ndula ta chenamba so yana ta nanda chune yo mare suso ke ta ro zambo ta chonge ba di era he ne ne che thombo le chares yina ya suso ke phama pinche ta tenene pha tharin ru tamba inthena ngaranso ke shamchu ke seng ke lojon chenge mi ba songza rowa chen yung ke chane tando chen ngaranso mi yung ke chane de da wajil pha phemto ji jeguna ta khonsol ya shwe de langa tyen de re doas langa tyen de imba songza an khocho tro ngemba pang thuya thapsi chi da tro ya po ji le ten che ne ya le thuya ke thapsi chi che de nganso thashi yena mena rendo ma to nganso tambo ni ne ya tu salung yung de chamba ne lojong ya po ye denge ta an chachen phusong so po ye denge ta chi sama langa ya po ro denge su kanji mewas
까마지고. So we should avoid destructive friends in our life and cherish those great like the good friends which we meet in our life, so that that's how like the life goes on, right? And I believe with your practices, you guys are really good at differentiating like this is a good friend and then this is the bad one, like in all these ways. And then, for example, even if we go further, like not our family, if we need to help like someone um in this life, then the best way to help like certain someone is by showing them like a way, right? A path to follow. So we would be able to tell them like avoid bad friends, and we won't be able to tell them like this is like we won't be able to go like down to them, right? We can just show them a path, like a way where the importance of making good friends and spiritual friends, and then avoiding like bad friends and all those things. So that's really important because there is no one, like nobody was born in this life in a way where like the path everything is ready, right? So we all need to go into that journey, and in order to show somebody or make like the right way, choose the right path of your life. So it's really important to avoid those evil companions, and then focus more on the spiritual friends.
제장 심반지 디인도 먼저 디 저기 따다레디고 저라 단단 간서 디배 개정부 효래도다디 조년바다 조장보 세디 잠바네야 밀리에라 시우체된 저러버지 초시사레도 지시나 삼노 야보 땅마시나 디케차 춘노 마레세 나람서 밀리에와 메바다 창마 나랑서 지 진송 임바다 대원 되바다 등에 면되바 진송 임바지다 나랑서는 제와 여딩이 진송 임바지다 셈제 춘용을 제와 첩그레세 대야데 나랑서 상주가 생가 따루데레스 다 이나야 나랑서 야와질은 로디 잠바네 롱에 그 로파데 빼야보 가르스고로 샴주가 생가 로존 쟁에 그 로파야 된다고 요고바담 대장지 메세 샹주그 생그 꼴라 랑된 징에대야 야부지기 제순 로고아 마토지게 안능만어서 출룬도버지 차야바는 카히 소소그 셈 주장에 조 출루그 제순 로제네 타메타조데 소소 양롱데게 데네 니수 용고도 와서 로탄 노르체네 어디 임바손타 딱간다 nganzo lojonji chegona gegen danga jagro was gegen danga ta ane gitu chipa zinro chipa danga te mano jagwe te kechimbo imbas ta te zonda bachi tanda dik son de gores.
Mhm. And then if we really think like the way I'm saying, like it's really important to avoid the destructive friends and then cherish the spiritual friends, it might seem like as if I am differentiating, right? Like a human. But as a like in the Bodhicitta way, every sentient being, like all the human beings, they like everybody wants happiness, and then everybody is same, like everybody wish um the best ones. So what I meant is like just like how if we are choosing a subject in our like studies, we will choose like which teacher or the professor is better, and then we will go after that, right? How his class is and all these things. So similarly, it's really important to choose a good spiritual friend so that your practice and everything goes in the right way.
제장 심반지 대 인디로와 제장 안조 도스 제운데 땅 안조 미 gemba 장자 인디 잠바네 상마는 냠뇨데 히위요레스 제장 메체데 야 가르세로 레비 차데 가와네 라가도 nienbe chade ledro de kawachigido te chedung gosa de kandesen gogogodo lebi chade tsulandu zamani kawani yungudo lebi cha lensa de susok robanda chegu de kawa chegu de te suso hako de zaman ta ting nganso yinji meji pa karase gura susok nyeba ta susol chi karase gura yang lo ta rewa choyung ke tende ke yin to wal yeshin chela ta sol pa 야보지 제고야 지단 땡안소 랭게 연하면을 이렇게 당안소 단다 추로 제반나 이게 안소소로 마음바 추로 연다들 레바이나야 야보지니 제야다 양글 하버동 알아서 로충아 돼서 파마초고 보고 돼서 지가 코란초고 라완다 휴침보 때진데 랑로를 딱 막아야 돼 콘소고 메체데라 겐 히우지 키고요 왔디 인디 잠바네 지 가르서로 종년반냠도 로얄 강고 제고에 뺨스 개첨버려 삼사 땡도스
Mhm. That's why I believe with our experience in life, like as all of us are kind of old enough, I believe like we know the goods and bads of our life, like where we are getting the good ones and then where we are getting the bad ones and everything. So we should really show or like for our younger ones, especially like our kids and everything, please like be make sure you guys take extra time or be super responsible so that the kids, the younger generations, they won't go like fall in the wrong path. They will be able to go in the right directions in their life as well.
ngara social to chaga paina ta minde gehilani minji tayoris ina ngala raguya de zo de kar rasu seba yintina chi lamja kari imbe da doja kari imbe de tatis robsan da jin gochso son samsan da jung sons ane chi soso ta chi chibonda wachi ina re wembe ne nda wachi ina re chi langal yaman rodu ina re shoke ya landu ina re gonda ma nyedu ina re ta chi pangja ko korte ta langja ko kote la sanu ti se tang hing do la tang wene tane soso go duya zo de kari ime te sho sho jing tang go chodo ro chi do samsa ji chowa le gi dos te cho chama te soso gun juen gen jo do chi re ma dos ta de hinju ya po che de zamane tambo pei lange ta te tene ne ya le un de zamane gomba nang lo le ya dus chi le un de zamane ngarang so cham ro da sen je ta nan chi yin goren chene lange te so ta ane tene ne gegen sinyi lamnge ke nilu hinju chotang lamnge ke gegen namba ta ane teda nyamdolo gechu chipa te so ta ane tene ne ya nyamnyo chinge ane gegen te so ke kading ke ta chik soso ngone ta ne misen din alo la cha kya pa ina ta chik yawa ta duwa di yaran da bote ti chi he hinga doa samsa ke tende da bo chik reson se te so changma te gege yapo chi ta gechu chipa yapo gugu do ma to te mena soso gunjung me ba te separa hyas.
Mhm. And then, for example, for myself, I have that degree of Gishi, and then I have that name like as a Gishi thing. And from this name, by like studying all these years, what I had learned is the importance of letting go and the virtuistic the importance of those virtuistic actions and all these things. And then even when I am alone or like before going to bed, when I wake up in the morning, I get to know like what I have to focus on, like the purpose thing. And these realizations which I am having is not something that I have done or I have got all these things like not by myself. All these things are like thanks to the great teachers that I have encountered during my early journeys of the monastic lives and how they had taught me from basics, and then along with the great like classmates, those spiritual friends whom I met. Without them both, the great teacher and the friends that I have encountered, I will not be able to like realize all these things. So it's really important to have a very good teacher and friends.
Ngo tende do re de kha ta ti che zang ti ge chen bu hibu je re kha sang sa da ten de ta ka du na te che ane ngan zo che zang zhuo zangbo tang zhuo nianba seya de la su su ge ji ha go 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 do sta ngan zo su su gu du ja ge cha ni ji yor wa ka re du gu yo na mu yu ka re ji du gu yo na ka re ko la jang gu yo na de la thun ji jor thung ye te so zhuo zangbo che de la thun ji jo mu thu wa che de la gor jin zo nge yo na ta de da nyam do jang rin si che de ge cha de kha sang le ju hyo cha ba yin ta de da ra yin te ma to ngarang so chi mil thong chung se de zawa ni ne number san ji bi chue na lo la te re ngarang so ji kar sa ta du khora na lo la ten ji de wan jong wa se son sa yu shin che la 통주수 간질 지금 말해서 타입이 막게 셈제 탐제시 계제 해운데 야쇼 존나 당도 견다 참아 수속이 레비샬 츠티투에 때 가주이나 탑히디 제고 그래스.
Mm-hmm. And then focusing on the spiritual friend and evil friend, like I said, spiritual friend can be considered as those who is helping you. For example, if you have a focus or something, um, like your whatever you are planning. For example, if you need to study something, and then spiritual friends are all those like friends who is gonna help you in order to complete that whole topic or the assignment which you are going to do. And then evil friends can be referred to those who cannot help you at that moment. And it doesn't mean like it's not differentiating anything or um like that. And since we are like human and we believe like how Buddhists believe everything is interrelated and interconnected, so it's really important not to differentiate based on the spiritual friend and evil friend way. It's just that with certain like your things to complete, like the task to complete on that certain time or certain period, so that's the time where like you had to this thing is there, like the spiritual friend and evil friend. Otherwise everybody's same and we all are interconnected. So yeah.
티연 도랑 안솔은 대화 연구가 대화한다고 했는데 그 연구한 두에스.
아니 데라 디 자라기 티워지 쿠샤
몰라서라서.
니마라 카레 키시 ngaransoda thoyagada thokdugala jikta ondil tona ngarangajida nyamyun tholishina khaptu khoralana michik dukjadu yakudulin lashiya mindula sha khandes yaga resha da dugaresh la diche tagda chila thumdus ani changma susu ngarang khomchi yora loga chini 아니 돈도 계좌시에다 이내리 시가지다 던데로체 딱한다 요라 계좌시에다 디카
나보다.
과가살이니 원디치니 다 야체마치 카구 심부디에도 샤다 사일런치니
나보다.
디데네 디레 양나다 페차션 수수 두고야가지 미유로 셔라 원디 파제пт돌로니 topic doji kanga 계좌시에나 원디 파제пт돌로 양나 kisi nyamshu doji chagwana ta nga nyamshu chi men dolen andilashana ta len ya shwe dirwas.
대배하고 손이야. 제가 안저 미야와다 두어세 계제 주요로 하시면 이제 디 안저 단다디 희가 말다. 미야두세야 돼 미초 계제 망부 희희기도 하디 주소 나눠라. 미카히 카 망부지 계제 망부 희야라 가보요나. 아니 카뉴뉴 데솔라 코 독자 희원들지 희원양추 인도도세네야 독자지 등이 지 인고도 양 카히 사야라 희부 가딩이나야 사야 먹강에 대야 조보 초회담 매조도지 야 카히 참야라 희부 가딩이지나 야 만창에 대해서 양지 코다 다가서래 이게 다가서 대들 미쳐 돌아래 생겨서 근데 예라 헤딩이 좀 왔다 대소 수수수수 까박은 더박이 왕게 따당지래 마도 조야도 계속 해당되 게 말이스.
Okay. This is regarding Zara's question, and Geshe believe like there is no good or bad people like which we can identify as. So it's really depends like how if the person like who is gonna say like the others are bad. For example, for myself, if I'm like a quiet one, I want like those who are very like super talkative, right? If you are not that active, you won't be liking those who are super active. Just like that, if you don't like going out, and then if you're like if there are others who like who keeps love going out, you won't like them, right? It doesn't mean like the other person who loves going out or the talkative ones, they are the bad ones. It's just like based on your own interest, and then you are like judging the other person as good or bad. But in reality, there is no like good or bad people.
배나 ngaram펠지 자고서와 ngaram펠지 야네 가네 인세나 니게 미야와다 두어세 주어라 미야와다 두어세 딩이 깨정원의 셰싱가 메스 pena minra waje taba ina trahi yaware se anda wata doje duare se ne mil yera ji chek bana ngine checking mes yina ya ngaran roro da wati kande da wachi gu yes laba ina tinge rawa imba sonza nga semje gen la chewa ma je la gabo yo ti imba sonza semje gen la chewar jenge ke minyam dola ngan roya la ti se sabsa chigres kan sena yang khogi 세위기 내가 던데 간냠도 nje moyo sa ngaran ti shol thindu moyo sa ya juyorwa tendendo bachene nga ti so da nyamdo la ti se tharins che de ti chigres nga ngaran so drilling ta chigi chila chigmone tane semba zambo ya kone kondo peala ane drilling chenge ko tropo dende duna khotso da nyamdo katsu ina drip thuya ga thapsi chigres kāi sēnā ngā dīl gāpo yore, ngā dī ya pē gu yore wās. Tē yīmbā sōngzā, tā ngā ndō dīni xēpa mā khandrīn rāwa ñam tō nrīg rēs, lāya kēchā dī rēs, tā trō zāmbol tēmbā, tā trō ngēmbā tēn sēya kēchā dī.
Nga khandila digrela na khalawar.
Marta, khandrīn rāwa ñam tō la hīg rē, khandrīn rāwa chīng la ñam tō la tēng rē sēya jōr wā. Tā ngā ñam tō hīgsā dī, nrō, ndūrō, anī kēchā xēro sēya rāwa jōr wā. वो ते कंडेंड बची गुगरे सला बाइना ngarang gasho te semba ya kone kondo peya yen le sewa je ya de pa kanggo jingi meji yimbe chane yen la khangi singe ane chi karosa mambe thongchung tende je ya la ngi ge pa kaja ta zenja yimba sonza tende sholo pa thindo nge te la ya nge ti zenze chi gres ya yen le shamba da tsewa tam ane chi nam seng lo jong de ya kone kondo seng menti sho de ma nyur ta ya da seng thun sho de gewi sho de ya yar tange ge me dinde le so na ngal gya de te im ba son san dinde ge me da nyang do ma wan ri ya ge thapsi chi gres.
Okay. For example, if I take this to myself, like Geshe himself, he said he really don't know like how to say or differentiate certain like someone as bad or good. If we need to name out like how Tashi is bad or Doje is good, like in that way he won't be able to say it. Since he himself is someone who doesn't like to harm others, and then if he need to be friend with two people, then he would choose like he will go or start going with the one who won't harm others, and then he would avoid the ones who may or might harm others, right? Because he doesn't like it. That's why he would start avoiding them. And also since he loved discussions and then focused on the spiritual growth and all these things, so he would really love like to interact more with a person who has his own like similar interest, and then he would be consider that friend as a spiritual friend as well. So there is no like specific this is bad, that is good, but it all depends like based on your interaction.
Tan do dine khena ngamso tsawi amatiti gu duja dawate ngaranso dewa de res tol goya de dungye de res ana suso ina me yen devi sholo thigu gorela suso ina devi sholo ndogu gore me yen dungye sholo ndondo yo marela suso ina dungye sholo ndondo yo mares timba sonta ta dungye sholo thin rongye tela zeng goya chi ta devi sholo thin rongye ta nyang don roro tela ana teng goya de res ta nyang ka dawate.
And then the most important thing is like how we all want happiness, right? So we should accompany or we should be friends with those who wanted the happiness and being focused on the happy life and who is working on to that. And then since everybody wanted to be like stay away from suffering, so we should avoid those people or friends or who are like going into that path, and we also should do our best in leading everybody to the happy life, because that's what like everybody wishes.
Pena nga pension chi hiya yo khasang dene ya nga so chöso ge langa dene ya leun de zama relative sin ti chi yo subway yo sa de la na Metis ya lo gens se chi ane tolo de ya bo kwen man do ri de has ane ri de har nge ya bo chi ta yin le ko yang di kan no ne do wan da ji ten de du su zu jam ne ane ten de do ni je tolo ne ke kwen man do ne chan ro sa re ane tolo ne ya bo kwen man do sa da langal ta ga chi langal ri de re ane New York lo shatan ten da kan sa thon ya do 다 대소 담보니네 근데 쟁예레베 아 근데 말해서 나 대소 지기 제 니기 제 아나 근데 로론냠도 제 진주도 잠반에 근데 촐라 로로야 나부터 땅안서 망보 통한도 왔어 근데 인디 다지 코란족 상발이야 테로 때단 로로디 조보 야보 인상거레스 하자
Mm-hmm. Okay, and then another example is that I had encountered was one time while I was taking subway, Gishi saw like an elderly guy with wearing like old rags. He was lying on the street, and then he was lying down on the street, yet he was smoking, and Gishi really felt that as we can see, like clearly he wasn't born this way, right? But then with the destructive friends that he met in his journey of life, and that's how like it turned into this way. But to him, maybe the destructive friends which we see won't be seen as a destructive one to himself. Yet like with the outcome, like by the result, we can say that due to his bad friend, that's how like it lead to him like in this way.
근데 뭐 손자 간속이 다자 땡바 샤자 투바기 마 두스지니 코리다 코리기 게투니 마 주베게 참마 가르 손여르세나 게긴 땡고게네 게긴을 힌주야 보 히워 제슬라네 게긴들라 체추든데 참고 그르다슬라네 덴데게 베데 게긴 땡당 코들 히츠하보 히우든데 손여르세
With Lord Buddha and then many of his great disciples, they are also in many of the scriptures and teachings. They really highlight the importance of seeking like great teacher or guru, because you should like make sure to seek a good teacher so that it leads you to the like right path.
대소 간에 메시게 도난다 다 준속이 아마 힌주 제고야다 때문에 망보지인 거를 대소 제고를 마도지게 나랑 저기 메신 디지보고 단다는 말에 지 타투그 디지지 소야게 체도를 랑갈론 동이 메인바 손상 타투그 디징원에 제 통에 그 말라 따다 게겐다 아니 람게다 대소 참마데 근데 따다지 라투그레 마도지게네 야지 깔레 똥바라고 차야 되네 년가 요레스
And then, which is why I like I wanted to let you all know as well, like the importance of seeking great teachers, because from them we are seeking guidance not only for this life, right? It isn't about this life. It's for like the until we met like enlightenment or nirvana. So that's why it's really important because we are seeking guidance, right? That's why.
뭐야 도대체 안 얘기한다 그 대단 대화 이제 깨작현도
Thank you. I believe Brother Doji has something to add.
Oh, thank you. Earlier regarding this is seeking companionship. So this is a important topic. So I have a questions in that context because we all are known to be social animals. We can't. We are dependent on each other, and we always need friends to hang out. So my question is. There's a theory called social exchange theory, which is also like relationship theory. So according social exchange theory, you can't what this social exchange theory means in relationship there's both reward and cost. In a relationship there's both reward and cost. So it has to be balanced. If there's a higher cost for the relationship will not last. And at the same time, if there's one is like one is too much and the other is too low, then it will not last. Both has to be equal or balanced. So reward means like satisfactions, like fame, social status. Cost means like the time you spend, the kind of the resentments. The cost can also be in terms of emotional stress and so on. So like so therefore, my question is, do you think this theory is practical from a Buddhist perspective? Like when they says you need to, you have to treat relationship like a transactions where you have to have a, rewards such as affection, support, esteem, and then you try to minimize the cost, which will be like the time, the emotional efforts, the conflict. So relationship here can be both in terms of marital relationship as well as friendly relationships. So it has to be kind of balanced, because if the reward is on one side the reward is higher, and on the other side there's too much cost, then it won't work. So it has to be balanced. They have, or both side has something to contribute to it to make work. So from Buddhist perspective, do you think um, it can be is there any, I mean, Buddhist theories and how the Buddhist views of friendship and of this social exchange theory? I don't know, Buddhism perspectives will agree to it, or they don't see much sense in what they explained as in the social exchange theory. 대신 뭐 최소해
xiālānguā chī mā sāng.
샤마이 니파 러샤가 도두지. 오케이. 도도 트레타 단다디 인지기로와 인지기 코란소 social exchange theory를 따주지요. 다 코란소 그 루피 용 가소레 루피 용지요와. 징라 단다디 루피 용지나로라. 가르르고에스나 대화지 주에 이바이나 수수게 자탄이 바이네 스톱 호모바 가리 바이네 rewards lodi kari ne ta kesan da chung chi yorwa kesan da chung ni de kanyom gu gu yores sho chi ge pet kesan le jang je shemba dil chung ra cha je bai na ani din khota ta de ge yo mares leg de gi kesha chi yor cost la na ko middle so so ga si chi chung ga si ji po gu gu dos pagi hemba zane kare so leya ga kare so ni ge reward da cost la de kanyong bo ji chung ba na anin dewa de muntu de ji ya bo ji nyong gres ge si dni ji pet hi bu thoba hi bu ji ro sha ba na anin din dewa de ne ge mare de san ro res ya ge dni ta du ji re ta dil nambi ge ji don ta ba ina ji le jun je den do ya da bu ji chu re do ya ji kharu khatu go ya la le ta ye ge ne dan da bu ji dni ji cha gu do se ya da bu ji do wa de.
Brother Lance, you answered Brother Doji, please.
Well, thank you. You're giving me way too much responsibility here. I think it's a very, very good point. I'm thinking about this as Dorji was speaking about social exchange theory and this balance. And it would seem to me that in our relationships, our relationships may start off as maybe like a 80-20. Sometimes, we're at the 20% and somebody else is at the 80%. And then through our relationship, through the time that we have invested with each other, it may come to a even parity, but then it may even shift to where you're now 80% and they're 20% or something like that. So it can be very dynamic. And I think that the thing that we need to look at most of all in any of these relationships is how it affects us, how we see ourselves. What is our degree of peace? What is our degree of anxiety? Where are emotions? Where are our emotions and so on? If we can see where that is, we can see how that relationship is affecting us. If we get very emotional with the drama of being with this person all the time, or these people all the time, has a very negative effect on us. And we need to make choices about how we're going to associate with them and so on. So we need to be able to look at ourselves, see where we are, and be able to look at the other person, see where they are, and see where that balance is, and have to make very aware decisions about how we're going to continue our time with each other and so on. So maybe Dorje or Yangshin, if you'll relay that to Geshe, please.
Geshe-la, Kurigi, Jamayan Ji Sonda.
Yeah, landslide karisons lana doji gi thanda anzu di khara ta kanda jiso ga ji mi che ni dewa la di indu zambani khara chujo sho gi rang gi tang de phaju sho rang se din lan ta yung mara kanda ma dang ngap chu ro ya gya chamas na wondo di khechen bu thong gu du la go ra ta nang shu ya ji ta du wondi kang la ji sung da la di landslide karisons lana ta ngarang zo khara 지소 나로 레다 간다 미니기 지기 가정압 주대 지ing압 주대는 엔들라디 유가 깔레 하부 페레스 잠잠 미 셴바디 파주 초딩weni 가자 게주 디테시 이게 수수 니슈메스 테고 말라샤 아니야 치수다 안데로 체다 제라 수수 게주 데니디 차 셴바디 니슈 인시레스 안다 간다만데 디야마도 체페 칸델로 마스틸라 딩압중압 주돌레 엔디케 디체데 요마레스 다 니가 딜라 케시슈다 마랑주 카리타 오레라나 파조초 디레 수수레 니게 아주 초아디 저는 셈바지 디레요다 초아 도치 아니 수수 남다기도 양나 간다만다 지겨라다 마랑주 독 뉴몬 독송다 되어 유메도 파주 단다 디게 디겐기 중다 숨라니다 간다 되어 디겐기 된달라 수수라 디기니 경구라이 둠도도야 Simple shukangi ro suidwe doya and dige tabe kechimboris ta kisi ani susu gyaja nishu mashti me and paju chodi gyaja giju de ina paju chodi lo shukangi sti na susu ikengi ani kanda mana wonde ro kablo inde ta choni gya la samnu tani ta kechishu ani tangwa gya gore la sha kachena ta pat andirang doshana yungmara wonde chin
Thank you, Brother Lance. Tanda ngeke tikana sansuchi karayosena. Tanda nganso teji yorwala. Ta pena chasha paina. Shetan ngananso mi phe chewal chasha paina ta suso tanda kechemborwa. Suso tanda kechembore, suso leduen kechembore. Ti indi zambane chung ki tungi singe med tizi kale khabore ta tambo shegwana. 지초 나로 최용 그 차는 로단데 시기다 중생이 키고나 깔에 가보래 야 쇼진의 상을 담바이나 간서 중세의 문진 제당 계산의 문진 제당대 카갈래 그래 지tin 신용 그 차네 엔데다 온 로데디 잠바네 간서 사야 동야 총 제야 지 잘락 당 엔데다 오지 개편다 된데 간나 케다 중세 된데 간나 장자시 그러와 ям 생칸 로종 징에 메지 차게 바이나 중다 케세 더와지 보내야 제 해그 말에 근데 인디 잠만에 중다 케데 따당데 로칸다 오지제 아니 근데 인디 잠만에 양 나랑 저 배박에 카페 주여 참산라 따 토그래 참산라 개바 토그래 해서거래 참산라 수소 지 희우강의 면조 데모 탐원 로트야 연조 참산라 수소 강이나 홍대야 연조 근데 용그래 근데 임바 송장 Karel susolo so ropa gugre kare mil pha ropa che gugre ropa che gu khatu twa chila maumba so ropa che ra che to che de maim ba che ne chi hasan namda ke ropa che gu ya di che ba ina tis chi 가르세고라 최용그 차네 캐빈 체딩에 zon다와 소소라 이나 제일 가르주나 마주나 강에 매딩에 zon다와 양파 로바지 제디 수직 레반다지 자데나 양티 양테 송 zon다게 차농에 zon다지 마도 하산난다게 로바 zon다지 마임베 zon다와 안젤 티기 소 로바지 따다 마제나 네니마 마제나 따다 인상데 고ян다와 근데 용데 네수 캔사데 용데도 근데 인데 딱 생강 로종 제거를 해야 돼. 단양가 직 도와지 투인 거다.
Brother Lance?
Yes.
Yeah, can I add one thing here? So basically, Geshe-la, sorry, I kind of interrupting your structures. So
No, it's quite all right.
Okay. So earlier, I think Geshe-la mentioned very clearly when you normally when we look at the relationship, it appears to be like no one wants to bear the cost. Like no one wants to be the losing end at the losing ends. Everyone wants to win, kind of that kind of thing. However, human relationship, it's not like a linear, they will always be ups and downs. So sometimes one person's will be at their lowest ebb and the others will raise. And so it will tilt to either way. And so in that way, this is also very important to think it in that way. And another one here, the cost and reward not necessarily mean in terms of money. The cost and rewards not necessarily means in terms of money, because one person can offer the other person's for example, if one person offer money, the others can offer something different. So in that way, it will kind of equate. So so in terms of like the reward and cost, rewards can be like knowledge, esteem, and social status, fulfillment, and satisfactions, and all of that thing. And even if someone who is very good at, if it's a, what shall I say, like a marriage, if a wife and husband need not necessarily make the same amount of money, and wife can be very if the wife stays in the home, can be doing a wonderful job in taking care of the kids. That itself is a huge reward to the husband. And wife may clean the house, wife may cook, or if the husband stay at home, maybe the husband do the laundry, even though the husband may not be earning that much money, the wife goes to work. So the rewards comes in forms of many ways, not necessarily it has to be monetary kind of rewards. So there's a way to balance in that way. And I also would like to bring this up, like in earlier time in Tibet, there was what is called priest-pattern relationships. You might have heard that, right? Priest pattern relationships. In Tibetan history, priest-pattern relationship means the Chinese emperor and the Mughals emperors. So they are, the Tibetan lamas, they have so much wisdom, they have so much knowledge, and they know, they have that kind of wisdom.
So you were saying the word priest, like a holy person?
Yeah, it's called holy person, priest pattern relationship.
And the other was the patron.
Patron, patron, Patron.
Right, the one who is giving some money, giving some support, giving monetary support to the priesthood.
Yeah.
Yes.
So, I'm bringing this history perspective, history context, because I feel like their relationships are also balanced in the sense that the Tibetan lamas, they go to China, to go to Mongolia, and they have this wisdom of ancient knowledge, like Buddhism knowledge, and the emperors, the Mughal kings, they perceive it as so precious, so so valuable. So in turn, so the Tibetan monks, lamas, they have only these teachings to offer. So, but they take it so valuable, so precious, and in return, the Mongols and the Chinese emperor, they give them protections. They give them assets or valuables to make them thrive. So, in that way, the relationship thrived. It's known as a priest-pattern relationships.
Yes.
And in terms of money, it is a huge difference. But there is still, the two is there's both the relationship between the two were kind of balanced, and that in that way it worked and it thrived. I
Yes.
don't know if I'm right by bringing that up.
No,
but
that's very good. And if you concisely bring Geshe into the conversation, let him know what you just said. And
Okay.
then I would like to open it up to other people who are with us tonight, because they may have some anecdotes, they may have some insight in their real world experience to discuss this. So I think it would be good to ask other people to speak about it. But I want to make sure that Geshe is included in the conversation.
Sure, Brother Lance. Chundu the Geshe-la ngansu zo xue dire tanda de nguma tanda pek loju nanglo la ngansu ge chunyun se gin dewa chi yor wala. Chunyun se dewa di ke so ta tanda dewa kol xie yun du pepi ki lama ta ani tunso ge la pa pye yone mena ta chu du re de yores. Chu gi ta chi kari ne chi di konsol pa labja jaya da di pa naya da tishi go re yine tila tanda di mogo japo inare ani janak japo inare so ge za chambu shuji zi chi ne su yun di pi pa chu di pi tini gi chun dewa se ya chi tempo shuji da tani ji shu chambu ji chandu res da dili yang shu chi te ba ina ke da jung se na re tini ko ngobo de jipa mare de yine nika rinthang de peti tini da wo ji Quran so go jepo tun so ina chu di pe za chen bo shu zi rin tang shu zi de le rin tang yo ba de tong yin de ani de na ki Quran so go de le yuan scenario de le pa ta ji kar so le ta pe tong ya la sha dun nyang de he gi ni de gi to ni dan de wa de anti ji pe tun do as da di ji ne kon de wa de le ling ge ba di yan ta ta de ge ne me ne ji dang yang an su social exchange theories la de le pe bi gi to ni ke se de ro she wa re 아니 코리 기타 셴발 솔 주안다 버드리 유지레스 티셰고스. Thank you, Brother Lance.
You're welcome. Thank you. So I'd like to ask now, anybody else have some comments about this? I think this is a very good observation, suggestion that Dorje has brought. And I'd just like to say this, to put it in this frame. When we were planning this session, before we knew what we were going to do, it was a conversation we were having with Dorje and a conversation with Yangshin and Geshe-la, and we talked about how we can find ways to resolve all the tension that we in the world are all feeling in all different parts of the world, all different countries, all the different nations. There's such tension. And it was Geshe who said, well, we should focus on the 37 practices, because within the 37 practices are all these answers to all these dynamics of what's happening in the world, what's always been happening in the world, and so on. So by looking at this and looking at what Dorje has brought up and everything, is a real world, constant problem that we're going through, a situation, and to have an intelligent way of looking at it and being able to use logic to be able to work our way through this is very important. So I think carrying on this conversation right now is perfect. So does anybody have a comment that you would like to bring into this conversation? Anybody, please. Yes, Gunga.
Thank you so much. I guess I wanted to add to this conversation by saying that I believe there's teachings that talk about that are, and I can't remember the teacher's name right now, but I know there's a Tibetan teacher who's famous for this because when they traveled to Tibet, they had an Indian student with them who was very annoying and bothersome, and the his comments from the other students were, "Why do you have this man with you? He's so hard to deal with, so difficult." And he said, "Well, he's my teacher. I use him to develop my patience and my understanding." And then I think later on it goes on to say he sends that person home, and they say, "Why did you leave that person? Why did you send him home?" And he says, "Well, now I have you Tibetans to fill that role, to be my patients." Because I think in the beginning he had maybe some ideas, some naive ideas about Tibetans, like he didn't see them as real people. He just saw them like, oh, these people are friendly and helpful, and they don't have any problems. And he got to know them. He realized they're just like everyone else. So that's one thing. So I'll let that get translated first.
공간이 디 성스카레 디 기겐 디 민디 제샤스 이나야 다디 안디로지레 기겐지 있다 카라 파다 별로 응어서 디 간다 기겐라나 땅가라서 지겨 로벤게라서 지 파별로 디 최송어 도르스 니 콩가지 냠도 들라니 콩로 디지겨 갸가지 기투지 아니 gyaga gitu ji lamgara ta nyamdo yuti samba ani gyaga gitu di chasimbudo shiang so tiwa kungwa ku de ro ta kanda chasimbudo ji che tende ro ji yuti samba ani khona ga ji nyamdo yugyo pebal lo tu so gi ge thigo ra ta khansin khong wan zu nyamdo ta pebal pha tra ga ji di kap de la yore la di ani khong ga ji ta sesem ga ji ge ge yin slash 아니 디젤 보고 다 말하면서 배바 디즈니 가라다 안티도 콜마가야도 다다단도 디체 제라다 미디 파란지 개가 로당레스 아니 배바 디즈 아니 파 가진 로당에 디sam바 파 로당 샤나 디샤 가지는 걸 큐즈요라스 고스사 가진 큐즈에 다른 자르당 뇌니 사멜랑 알아서 배바 디게다 약보도 직당 안티도 갱게 섬디 시즈 제라다 간다만다 덴데도 간다 밀라 이엔제다 강자 치디도 좀 땅갈 큐즈도 왔으니 거기 겐디 고야민도 레디 송레스
Yeah. Less. Anna?
Yeah, please continue.
And then my other thought was that as our practice deepens, there are no difficult people. We don't see those labels on people. We just see people as people we can have relationships with, and we're strong enough in our practice that their negative behaviors don't influence us. We can work with them no matter wherever they are, so we don't have to necessarily avoid them because we recognize that person has no fixed personality. They are just responding to a situation in a certain way at that moment because of their karma, and the next moment they might have a completely different reaction to something, and that next moment, because we're maintaining that relationship, is influenced by us, so we have that opportunity to assist them. Thank you.
Thank you.
Yes, I think 아니 공기 가르송슬라나 아니 당가랑조 냠님바도 라고라 당가랑조 탄다 디치디 잠바 아니 밀라 칸델로다 미 독자 라고라 다간다 미칼레 학보도샤 텐데 능외지에 제요 마레스 간조 미 창말라 카레 디야가 디두갈레네 따괴샤 도시라 텐데 요 마레스 나랑수 뇌니 아니 미디파 통투와 체고레스 아니 통투와 체니 미셴바 디가지다 자주 누가 도시라고라 원디기 소소라 슈게마 테베
다가라 토지체 네 깨져히데 다가라니 스타 동데 차랑 군간이 막 솜바다 단다 도도 다가라래 토지체 까딩체
thank you Kunganima. You really summarized whatever I have been trying to say, like how there is no difficult people, no label on people. We should see people so that their negative actions won't influence us. So it like how we don't need to avoid them like that way. Really like appreciate your summary.
Pena Zambuling di kala kar thongu do sena tang arang so kange mambo ji thong de do. Susu mi ge re ni re gu senjo ga kange thong do ngol uthi gu senjo ga kange thong do de mai ba shu so chue yong gu cha ne ende gu senjo ga kange thong do ta de so kange so yong sa gi shi do de kan re do kan de ne yong gu do ta de de an ngang so 미 요주 징게 미 한바 사고세 그래 근데 레레 징이기 야셰 마셰제 아니 되게 젤 닌로 송로 신로 망보로 지네 아니 강이 망보 차도고도 와 땡간서 통되기도 와 근데 인디 잠반에 땅간서 개 체슌도 보대 나짱 마체 최짱 마체 최용을 강이 무속이 미기 젤 제순 로투야 지다 미 망보지 딜젤레 투야 땡간서 배제 제고야 됐다
Yes, I'm too soon. And then Gishi also added that as we all can see many sufferings, like how sufferings comes in different way, like a few are like individual caused, and then few are like how the world leaders are causing, and then others as like how the society sometimes because of their own like the way they see things, their perspective, they are also causing a lot of sufferings, right? So it's all because of like somehow us like a certain like due to like certain persons their own like perspective, the way they see it and their actions. This is how like it's leading to all these sufferings. So it's really important, like not just I or you, but hoping like we, like all the human beings or all the sentient beings, like have happiness.
Yeah. Ana tuche tangi tringe tije tilma jonjo tilma de hidja chwa jesro.
아서 건조 시에고야가 시시도.
La sonroda.
And then the ones raising hand can share their thoughts.
Well, let me ask Matthew. What comments do you have, Matt?
I think Alex might have had his hand up first if he wants to go
Oh,
back.
I'm sorry. Well, I
can
didn't
certainly go
notice that.
too. I just want to
Okay.
make sure I don't skip over
Thank
him.
you. Alex, would you like to speak then? You're
Oh, it really uh, doesn't matter who goes first. But since I'm here, actually, this discussion helped me realize that whatever offered in the Bodhisattva's practices, maybe we actually originally I was taking a lot of this in kind of absolute sense, like it's saying abandon your life, and I was thinking, well, should I really like sell my house, you know, say goodbye to my kids, send them off to college, and then go to the mountains, and now I'm thinking, well, maybe I should think of it in relative terms. So just like we're not thinking of friends absolutely evil or absolutely spiritual or good, it depending on the situation. So just like with other verses that seem to kind of contradict a little bit one with each other. But like when it says abandon your friends, abandon your family, abandon your like ordinary life. I mean, is it good to think this? What is meant is not to feel a lot of attachment, not to feel a lot of too much of engagement in those happenings, those things, so that our mind can focus on what is really important and progress on the path. So not outwardly abandonment, but more like inwardly in terms of attachment and in terms of what we are thinking inside.
Yes, thank you.
Can
I add a comment? Can I add a comment to that?
Now, I wonder what Geshe would say. Yes.
Yes. A while ago, there was a picture that we distributed of a Bodhisattva yogi who was holding a piece of metal that was heated up, and he was tempering it. If you remember, he would take the metal, put it in the fire, then he would put it on the anvil, and he would bang away and the sparks would fly. And then he would take it and put it into the water and cool it down. And then he would take it back out, put it in the fire again, heat it up, bang it again, put it back in. He was tempering himself so he doesn't break. And that's, we're faced with all this drama, all these things going on. And what we need to do is to be resilient with it and not allow ourselves to become so extreme that we break away, that we lose that tempering. And that's what we're trying to develop, is that tempering. So I just wanted to make that comment.
All right, thank you. Let me explain this to Geshe real
Yes.
아니 엔트롤레스 카레 알렉시 코랑기타 카리 소스레나 테링가지 디네 아니 카싱은도 차샤나 가랑소타 파유샤 돌라 엔트롤레 디삼 코기 팟 코라타 칙타랑가지 디시로 레엔드로 소스 수소다 남미 육샤 세고레도 사메샤 타 남미 부소 샤니 드레도 삼송스 타이나 타 탄데 찰타 시네 고츠슬라샤 뭐서 언드랑 멤버치다 간다 수소니 웬발로 귤레디 뇌웬바랑 마임바치 수소니 수소 취치사도 다간다 예연라 뇌게 사미교 안드로지 쿠유지 튠투네 딜코디야도 덴데 사마하고 송스 아니 란슬라 기디간 카리 돔슬라 아니 카싱윤도 아주 콘주기 직바로 직당인사리 파르당이나 야부하마스 간다만다 ngaranzo kare ta mi mari ngaranzo khandilo nangche jangdini yogi la na khala orta mi chigyam
우종도 그래요.
원도 두토직 예로 지기 가량한조 짜로 동대샤 짜
Nepa.
짜 추나 루 양디절 멜파도 안드로 진짜 멜파샤 양 코나기 짜디 가르친 동거는 젤 짜디 컨트롤 짜디 야교교 마교교는 근데 마차시 다 동거라 짜 양갸 동 메나루 추나루 코 탁부도디 디 컨트롤 고걸는 가랑소가지 미시딜 배차셔는 적고 누워직 투어다 남살람 겨울도에도 야지 투어도 슈야 야드에도 덴데도 많이 바치 간다 수수수 디 컨트롤 없다
엠보로
템포도 친디 예윤기 디 뇽다 디 메도야 원디슨스
thank you comment. Anna?
Yeah, now Matthew can share his point.
What I was thinking is, I do a lot of work as a counselor for addiction and substance use, and I think there's an analogy in that could be related or useful, which is where, like, if when somebody's in early recovery, where they haven't been clean or sober for very long, that they often need to be avoiding a lot more things. Things that could be very triggering, because it's very easy to get very strong cravings, like often would really be avoiding a lot of the people that they used to maybe drink with or something, or situations to be around alcohol. But then as they get kind of more established in their sobriety, get more time, maybe they've been sober for a year or many years, there's many more things that they could do that wouldn't be as triggering to them, or that they could handle more. So it's kind of depending on where they are in that journey, we need to kind of make some different decisions about what's healthy for that person. And so the analogy I'm making is, like, for, if it does fit for ourselves, like with how progressed we are with our spiritual practice, or kind of internally or something, of like, I could imagine someone like myself might need to be more careful about putting myself in certain situations, because it'd be very easy for my mind to get very unwholesome. But someone maybe like Geshe-la, or people, or maybe all the other people in this group, where they can maybe be putting themselves in certain situations around certain people and still keep that kind of sense of being centered or well-being, or not becoming too unwholesome in their mind or their behaviors. And the other thing, I don't know, am I going on too much, Yangshen, for the translation?
Oh, okay.
For a second? Yeah, okay.
I'll do a brief one. Angelas, kondo chashana kare dinde ngalong zu kare chala tama nyetari nga kare kagdom che sha kandilo andro che ani midizuluya kare nyeta yuringburo tungende dende kangla ani lagado dende ti sinyu de zamba won di zunanglo ni kare shi ya do kare thonggo de ngarang zu tangshe da khonzu ya ngosu da ande yurimbo ji tung da dijal di chi de zamba tangshe do li na da khonzu mi mangbo ji ngarang zu yo go kya sha chobu du ja dige nyam do ba ta ringbo do de na yakshur da khran su yo phingo ra ani dijal da khran su ngarang zu da di jinda do ji la go ra da won di lo ost do da dijal rangshing gi ta su 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 mas na ha do khya sha ta chilo minyam dewa chego ne tisi chetu en su le control do laura su kaya da gang ta ye thuya sha ta wondi gi khari thong le na ngarang zu mi sim mas na ta ande chini ya ma do de ren ta na ngarang zu ga ji nam she do di ne ngan zu ta nyam le la che shi do ji ge ra mi thang la che lo ga do ji yu di zamba ani wan do ta ye gi sam gu tu su sem ba nang lo la ani ti ya ga re ti du ga re le ti sing we ro ti jing thu ras ya che do ji la le du 아니 배차상 땅랑 상말 로가로가 인도 잠바 아니 잠잠 ngalakang 로직 태다 디니 nga랑 인근이 슈다 파주 간들로다 nga pad dumye ge wal shuk chap ro na ina kisi dikang ro di kisida kyoran su shemba chig thena ya ke kuch ma ingyo ro ande thongsi ros yeah that's very true Matthew you can continue
Yeah, and the only other points I was going to make is like I think a really important thing is the motivation or the intention behind being around certain people that I could imagine, and it also fits with the addiction one too, this example. But like you know, an intention or motivation of going and being around a group of people or something, if that may be trying to help them, or maybe it's a special event and you're going to be part of it and be supportive or something, versus like another motivation where you're going and to kind of take part in certain things, or because you're filled with lust or filled with, I don't know, craving or something like that. That I think the intention and motivation, I would imagine, makes a big difference.
Alright. 아니 셴바 카리 케션 부터 나랑 소다 저 카리레 지 체네 다 딜라 꿀롱도 지겨라 꿀롱디 베 케션 부로 통송스 베차셔나 카라 아니 다 꿀롱디레 오니로 차도다 레가지 치디 잠바 수수수수 타랑 치긴 돌레 엔드로치 셴바 초지 치디 잠바 수수디니 캡상 로지라 시도 꿀롱징디아 도스다 덴드로 린다 간다 덴드로니 통송스 Yes, and then please.
I mean, that's pretty much it. And then just kind of to Kunga's point, the only thing I was thinking is that, that all of this kind of, all of this rests on the illusion of the self and like a duality where there's like this self and others that are separate. And then what's the exchange happening and everything. I'd imagine for like a bodhisattva or someone who's highly realized or a Buddha or something, that that this wouldn't arise, this kind of question wouldn't arise once that illusion of self is no longer like active as someone. It's the other thought I had.
That's very good. Bringing it home. That's very good.
It's my story arc here. Thanks, Yangshin and Geshe.
Thank you. 아니 공기 셴바 카리 삼슬라는 아랑스 페샤샤나 bat chanju sembo 디게 디기 안데로 소르시 기르라샤다 bat 수수 카치는 따탄다 안데 따두당 따 컨트롤 따모 진단디 로가로가도 망보시다 다 랑랑다 셴나니 안데로 여제도 디게 따bat 안조 컨트롤 상게 코닝 모니니 수수 bat 메교로 당직 차시다 덴데롤렌다 원도 송스
Thank you.
We only have a couple minutes left, a few minutes. I'd like to give Brendan an opportunity to speak. He hasn't been able to join us, but I know he's always, his brain is always going and he always has good things to say. So Brendan, would you mind letting us know what you're thinking?
Thank you, Lance. I have a lot on my mind right now. I'm not sure how it fits with our discussion, but I'll make an effort. I'll try. Because I was listening to Kunga earlier, and he was talking about avoiding this idea there's people that we don't like or people that we can't work well with. And I was thinking about a quote from a great teacher named Ajahn Brahm from the Theravada tradition. He's in Australia. And Ajahn Brahm says, never demand of the world that which it cannot give you. Never demand of the world that which it cannot give you. Clearly, he's very grounded in the First Noble Truth, as am I. So I was just thinking about people that perhaps, to Kunga's point, that we don't get along with, and realizing that now, as a Buddhist and not a Christian, I'm a member of a religious minority in the United States. And that I don't want to get political, but there are people that perhaps I don't like very much in charge right now. And what is my attitude going to be? How am I to handle that? And part of it is to understand that I'm not going to demand of the world that which it cannot give to me. I'm going to do what I can, but I'm not expected to work miracles and to change things on my own. So you do what you can, and you meditate, and you study, and you avoid the allure of too much heroism, is one great Buddhist teacher talked about, that we're not called to be heroes, we're just called to be ourselves. And so that's my rambling commentary for tonight, Lance.
That's wonderful. Thank you very much.
아니, 공기 가리도 시행하는 트레인디 스링이 궁궐하게 송사 가라, 아니, 미창마 간절로 가라 리치에 요마리라니 아샹아지 도도 디체사. Samrido dice, ngaranzo kisita pajushodigi susolo nuiki tu samnani pajushodida taring station timshir lad. Tendo dichikpa ani kara kewa Agent Brown la jige sumyores susolo kara migyo gaji zamlingji ini mishenbagi tire do samni dila rede yo mari la sha. tapesasana 아니 콩리도 있는 레가까지 균이치나 가라 ngaranso 출루까지 가라 출루 융화까지 라 안데도까지 척바로 지겨라 개감나는 ngaranso야 가라 출루 융화까지 안데도까지 척바나로 레가 친이 아니 원데도 라디sam바다 출루 시선도 돈다 탄다 낭베까지 따도터니 도디 아니 단다까지 다 개갑까지 genkin이 들 땅아 슈가고 말이 가진 콩리기 둔당지 여러 고유단 되게들 마가두삼바 아니 당 얘기 콩가지 따당 따르디 니 고독자로 통루다 당신기 원디 진 땅아 코라파 샤셴라 샹아랑 니가랑 가리치 돼야 이게디 체이 아니 안데치니 가라 원디라니 도도 타랑 송스
맞았어. 아네.
I'd like to ask Geshe-la to have the last word here. His wisdom, we started off that I read verse number 7, which had to do with a worldly God and so on, but Geshe knew that we still had some unfinished business with talking about the wrong friends and being able to adjust ourselves, how to be able to look at ourselves, and needed more conversation. So thank you for that, Geshe, and I'd like to hear your comments about that now, please.
아니 겐쉐 케기 ngaranso aji dum바디에 강 숨나
야야.
제 셴바 인스톤이 디시디 타가랑 치캅두랑 레샤
다 단단간조 조버 디 휴차와 제로와 다 라야 코비존라 징바인지 된 사이 수히 좁바 뉴스 디시 강랍잖아 물로비 군초 잠로 자센 라레 인스도 군초 송외 심비그 토네 군초 송라 잡순 로고야 데다 자시 상주 심베 라레 레 마토지게 양 지딘 디 칼노라 ngaranso 준춘다고 디제 여딩에 zon다고 야 지 프레야 여딩에 zon다 메게 지 치야 메딩에 zon다 근데 야 레존 근데 가르쳐 보는 ngaranso magic 라고래 근데 나와 양 캔사버 근데 때 용에 소라 간소 잡순로에 네탄지게 인사마레스 간이 세바이나 코란솔라 등에 여르베세야 티 투바차고도스 코란솔라 등에 여데바이나 코란조로 등에 여대바에는 미신 등에를 간제세 타워 제투그레스 근데 임바 송자 나랑 좀 지땡비 하세난다 지티세 대소 제카데 동해를 잡통에게 짠이게 말했다 때문에 양세 받는데 뜬 두고여스 개체슈된 간소 등에 배드 등에를 배드 탄 등에게 미지 임바 송자 등에를 배드 타워 제통에게 어느 점에 권초 송세야 된 거시야 되 개침보레신 때 송고도스
Well, so in order to summarize basically the verse 7, it shows like highlights the importance of taking or seeking refuge in the three jewels because for example like there are many great like people or maybe like semi like demigods or stuff like that like who might have like certain magic or like a different ways of showing us like some which might give us like some sort of happiness for a short time being but the magician or those like the ordinary gods if we put it in that way like they are not they themselves are still trapped within the samsara cycle, right? So there is no way that they would be able to give us like the protection which we are seeking refuge in. So like the best way or best method is to seek refuge in the three jewels. Yeah.
대인도 단다 체남부 속이 시부 도난다 원에 자네게 까메나야 돼서 상로그 내세 통보 까메 장자난 것도 제소 이랑요 대남시게 나랑서 점로 송데 점내 군쇼 송세야 돼답 인간소 단계 고는마 고주디 브라더 렌스కి 쪼데야 주요와 대나로 차상 요레스 근데 인도 전속 자자자디 단단하거든 고쳐야 resking 하고 dus.
And then with your experience and the thoughts you guys had shared over and with your practices, I can know that you guys have some idea like when we say seek refuge in the three jewels, just like how when we started our session, Brother Lens recited the refugee prayers. So yeah, basically the verse 7 talks about seeking refuge in the three jewels, which will not betray you.
Pena tab deboji shewaina ngaransola ngandawina sanji kuncho seya de daja temba haja tuba de che ta khoge ngansola langa tenge de che ana chö kuncho se de ngone tane ke jamni suso ke jamni ngone de chö kuncho de che chö kuncho de kanderesana maumba suso ke dunge de suso ke tsama söne suso ke senju de tsama tsanja chane dunge pede taruke tapasya de suso ke kadu tosona dedu suso ke jula yodinge tapa de suso ke chö kuncho de che ana tapa telan roar chepala langa tenge ropa sanji kuncho te daja tengba shaja tupo sondinge katu tyo marwa te meba sonza ngala tanda ropa chinge yona mena te gongsa janggun chenpo chua tang janggun tali lama tang nga ge gegen te so yinba sonza te so nge gendu kuncho rao ngenzi chege yores gendu kuncho la na tenre rawa chege
Chö kuncho lai de gotsumas.
chö kuncho la de
Ruparilana.
suso ke lam nyane che ne suso dungele thando kurwa suso dungele thando de thapa se de la chö kuncho la go yores
Susu lana susu tanda chidingi de law.
ani
And then so if he like summarized the three jewels, just like how Lord Buddha is the one who shows us the path, and then the Dharma is the practice which we are doing, and then the final one, the living teachers would be the guidance. Just like in our this life, we can see like great teachers like the Dalai Lama and many more.
o te tende ji te jel ngarang so charang so kuncho song ko kola thwa khari yo na ngarang so jeme len sen te na lo la yema te la thusan shero ches
And then if you guys have anything or more things to add, maybe we can talk more regarding the three jewels in our next section as well.
Yes, thank you. Thank you very much, everybody. Can we do the dedication then?
Yes.
So just one moment. So we'll recite the dedication prayer by Lord Jigden Sumgun. We'll recite this in English. Glorious, holy, venerable, precious kind root and lineage lamas, divine assembly of yidams and assemblies of Buddhas, Bodhisattvas, yogins, yoginis, and dakinis dwelling in the 10 directions, please hear my prayer. May the virtues collected in the 3 times, by myself and all sentient beings in samsara and nirvana, and the innate word of virtue, not result in the 8 worldly concerns, the 4 causes of samsara, or rebirth as a Shavaka or Pratyeka Buddha. May all mother sentient beings, especially those enemies who hate me and mine, obstructors who harm, misleading Maras, and the hordes of demons, experience happiness, be separated from suffering, and swiftly attain unsurpassed, perfect, complete, and precious Buddhahood. By the power of this vast root of virtue, may I benefit all beings through my body, speech, and mind. May the afflictions of desire, hatred, ignorance, arrogance, and jealousy not arise in my mind. May attachment to fame, reputation, wealth, honor, and concern for this life not arise for even a moment. May my mind stream be moistened by loving kindness, compassion, and bodhicitta, and through that may I become a spiritual master with good qualities equal to the infinity of space. May I gain the supreme attainment of Mahamudra in this very life. May the torment of suffering not arise even at the time of my death. May I not die with negative thoughts. May I not die confused by wrong view. May I not experience an untimely death. May I die joyfully and happily in the great luminosity of the mind as such and the pervading clarity of Dharmata. May I in any case gain the supreme attainment of Mahamudra in this very life, or in the bardo. Om Ah Hom. Om Ah Hom. Om Ah Hom. May my body, speech, and mind become inseparable with the body, speech, and mind of all the enlightened ones for the benefit of all sentient beings. Thank you all again very much. Thank you, Yangshin. Thank you, Durje, and everybody's participation. Thank you especially, Geshe-la. Thank you.
The 3 refuge calls your Wachanamba Sogi Jele Tua Mansi Yun to a Revajagio Stickle Son of Manstaronas Tuche.
And then please think more about the 3 jewels for seeking refuge so that we can have like if you guys have any questions or anything, we can discuss more in the next session.
Very well.
Thank you all. Have a good night.
Good night.
Good night, everybody.